Hello, everyone, and welcome to live Montreal Canadiens post-game show here on Langer at the Mic Live. I'm going to have to make sure my microphone is turned on for this one because... Wow! Cole Caulfield was his first NHL goal for the overtime winner, the second overtime victory for the Montreal Canadiens this year. Oh, man, Cole Caulfield, finally his first NHL goal in overtime. The overtime winner, the last time the Montreal Canadiens won a game in overtime, it was Eric Stahl in his first game as a Montreal Canadien. Now it's Cole Caulfield with his first career NHL goal, set up by Jeff Petrie, who played a hell of a game. And it's and not only that, in the second game in back-to-back nights, the Montreal Canadiens, they go down by 2 goals. In the second game in back-to-back nights, the Habs go down by 2 goals. And they come all the way back, and they overcome being without Shea Weber, Carey Price, Brendan Gallagher, Thomas Tatar, Jonathan Drouin, Paul Byron. Am I forgetting anyone? I don't think so. And they come back, and they tie it up. They overcome that. They overcome fatigue. They overcome the goalie interference. Who knows what goalie interference is? And Tyler Toffoli one-times it home on the power play after they overturned the previous power play for goal interference. And then Cole Caulfield in overtime. The Habs execute their plan, their strategy, their overtime, their unorthodox, but whatever overtime strategy to a T. Ottawa Senators barely touch the puck. Brady Tkachuk is out there for the full 3 minutes of overtime. And then the Habs just played it perfectly, just waiting for the opportunity to strike. And all Ottawa Senators that were on the ice were tired. And finally, Jeff Petrie, who has been a monster these last couple games after struggling for a good 2 or 3 weeks, Jeff Petrie with the goal tonight and 2 assists was a monster tonight. Perfect feed to Cole Caulfield, who before, also keep in mind, Cole Caulfield had the exact same chance before earlier in the game that was set up by Jake Evans. But because Jake Evans isn't as skilled as Jeff Petrie, it got to Cole Caulfield too late. And it got poke checked by Philip Gustafsson. But tonight, or by this time in overtime, Jeff Petrie, being the skilled player that he is, fed Cole Caulfield perfectly, got wide open, finished it beautifully. First NHL goal, second time the Montreal Canadiens win overtime, second night in back-to-back nights where the Canadiens win after giving up the first goal, after giving up the first 2 goals, and they rallied to win. And also, this was the third time this year where after trailing, after 2 periods, the Montreal Canadiens win a hockey game. And I don't care if Cole Caulfield is the guy who scored the OT winner or not the game tying or the first goal or the second goal, but I have been clamoring for the last month. You tell me how long it's been that I've been coming out here on these streams saying how Cole Caulfield Cole Caulfield should be called up by the Montreal Canadiens. I've been clamoring for it because the Habs they can't finish, they can't score goals, they can't when they fall behind, they can't come back, they can't score on the power play. But I know Cole Caulfield, he might not have anything to do with anything that transpired up until overtime, although he did get a lot of really great chances and also happened to be on the ice for the Jeff Petrie goal. But whatever they changed in the last week, it's working because now they're scoring on the power play. Now they're coming back, and now they're winning games in overtime. By the way, I got all your comments here from Matt Cowan, Sheldon, Massey, and Glax KO2. We got this was a hype game for Matt Cowan. Caulfield OT goal is a beautiful sight. I mean, yeah. Sheldon, Cole Caulfield is a Montreal Canadian. Oh, it was a beautiful sight. What a beautiful sight it was, Matt. And yeah. Cole Caulfield is a Montreal Canadian who, by the way, has more goals at the U.S. National Development Team than Patrick Kane, Austin Matthews, Jeremy Morin, which isn't really much, but still. And Primo got his second NHL win. Yes, he did. Caden Primo, to me, was shaky early in the game. There were a couple of moments where Caden Primo gave up a bad rebound that led to a chance to the Sens. They hit the post. And then also there was a bad rebound he gave up where the Sens hit the post again. It was a bad rebound he gave up, and then there was another one where he read the release off the shot a little bit weird, but he got better as the game went along. So that was just an amazing performance or a much better performance by Caden Primo tonight. And sorry, just got better as the game along is what I want to say. Silent Tyson, Godfield. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been saying that Cole Caulfield just needed that first goal to break loose, to now for them to come in bunches. And he's been, and you've seen it. You've seen a little bit of, I don't want to say maybe hesitation, but just maybe a little bit of nervousness or a little bit of overexcitement in his game where he gets in a perfect shooting spot and he grips his stick a little tight, puck goes over the net. Or he fans on a one-timer, or he just doesn't get a full stick on the puck to bury it. Remember also early in the season, remember this, Tyler Toffoli, who, by the way, scored again tonight. He scored, what was it, his 27th tonight? I'm losing count. What was it, 27 goals for Caulfield tonight? I believe so. Yeah, 27th for Caulfield. For Tyler Toffoli, Caulfield will score 27 and more eventually. But yeah, Tyler Toffoli, remember at the beginning of the season where he was just putting himself in great scoring positions and taking shot after shot after shot after shot on net, but the puck just wasn't going in. Then he started breaking loose in Vancouver. The puck started going in Vancouver, and now 50 or 40 games later, now he has 27 goals. So I think the same thing could happen for Cole Caulfield, because tonight was another night where he was just putting everything he could to the net. He played, and he had 3 shots on goal in only 11 minutes. And that was something that if the Habs, and I tweeted this, again, at Mike Langer, give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and as usual, leave a comment in the comment section on your reaction to the Cole Caulfield overtime winner and any other takeaways and the comeback, honestly, because to me, this was a game where I, like, after that goal by the Sens in the late in the third period, or it was Dadonov with the perfect pass to, who was it again? I have to look. It was Thomas Chabot. Yeah, Thomas Chabot after the Chabot goal. I was like, okay, well, when am I going to start my Langer at the Mic live post-game stream here in the middle of the third period? But lo and behold, Jeff Petrie took matters into his own hands, looking off Brandstrom and looking off Gustafsson, making it look like that he was going to pass to Foley, I think, who was there, but then just buried it himself. Something we haven't seen from Jeff Petrie in 27 games. I forget how much it was. I think it was 26 games since Petrie has scored. And then Petrie feeds Suzuki, who scores from his favorite spot, but Corey Perry with the goal interference, which whatever is what it is, because who cares? Because right after that, the Canadiens, they continued to fight. They did not give up. And they made up for it with a power play goal from Tyler Toffoli. Beautiful one-timer feed from Petrie to Suzuki to Toffoli. And Suzuki is now 23 games. Thank you, Silent Tyson. Yeah, thank you for the correction there. But look, we're seeing Nick Suzuki and Jeff Petrie from the beginning of the season. And that to me is what that tells me is Nick Suzuki the type of player where when things matter, or when he has a combination of the energy, both mentally and physically, and when the games become that much more important and he puts them together, he takes his game to like another level. So to me, I feel like maybe that's the type of player Nick Suzuki is, because he produced in the playoffs, remember? He produced in the bubble. So to me, that's like Nick Suzuki. I think that is what he's doing right now, what's happening to him. He's taking it to another level. And also, Sheldon in the comments, what is goal interference anymore? Exactly. We don't know. Although I feel like that was more, that Perry goal interference penalty was a little bit more goal interference than Brendan Gallagher, because what Gallagher dealt with in Ottawa back in, like, on the last game that Claude Julien coached as a Montreal Canadien, where Gallagher fell, got up, and got pushed on his ass again, and not into Matt Murray, but down on his butt. And Matt Murray is just taking his lollygag and sweet time to get back up, and goalie interference. That was not goal interference, but at least this one tonight, a little bit more goal interference on Corey Perry. But yeah, man, I mean, what is there really else to say tonight other than just celebrate this huge comeback win, and Cole Caulfield's first NHL goal, which will hopefully be the first of many to come. Yeah, just look, the Canadiens, these last 2 games, they're playing fun hockey. They're playing really fun hockey. Another thing I really liked was Brett Kulak drawing into the lineup for Erik Gustafsson. I feel like Brett Kulak was solid tonight. He also had a handful of shots on net, and I'm pretty sure he played a decent amount. What was it? Kulak, he played 15 minutes, and he had Just one shot on net, but still skated well, played his position well, was reliable. Also, Matt Cowan, Jake Evans has been playing incredibly. I agree. Look, Jake Evans should have had a couple of goals in this game. Should have had a couple of goals, couple of assists, but just unfortunately, the reality with Jake Evans is that he's just not as skilled. He's a big-ish body, or at least he plays hard, skates well, hits anything that moves, forechecks hard, but just unfortunately he's just not the most skilled guy, but he's still a really, really good, or can be a really, really good role player. So that's exciting for Jake Evans. And Caulfield is lurking in the weeds. They're like the greatest Habs player to wear number 22, not named John Scott. Yeah, I mean, also think of Carl Alsner. Hate to give you guys PTSD for that. And also way back in the day, I think also Bill Lindsay, back in my first days as a Montreal Canadiens fan, was wearing number 22 at the time. And also Steve Shutt. Obviously, we can't forget about Steve Shutt in the 90s. And whew, yeah, my voice is just, man, as soon as I just saw so many opportunities in this game for like anytime. Yeah, Steve Bégin, of course, Sheldon Weisberg again in the comments. Thank you. Number 22. But I just saw like every chance that Caulfield got open, I'm just pass him the puck because he's open. And there's a passing lane to him. There was another instance in the third period on the power play where Josh Anderson had a passing lane to Cole Caulfield, but just was stuck on his backhand. But then in this case, like where Caulfield was just driving to the net, because as a goal scorer, that's what good goal scorers do. They drive to the net, they get themselves open, and when the puck comes their way, they put it in the net. When you get a clear chance to score like that, they don't miss, or at least they don't miss often. And Cole Caulfield, now that he's that first NHL goal, he has that monkey off his back. I'd like to think that going forward now, he won't be as nervous when he gets chances to shoot. He'll actually, he had a couple of misses tonight. Dale Weiss, of course. Well, we just keep in the comments your favorite player to wear number 22. How about that? That isn't Cole Caulfield. But, I mean, right now, I think my favorite player to wear number 22 is Cole Caulfield. It would be very tough to argue that. Caden Primo's second NHL win. Yeah, just to confirm that, Randy, in the comments there. To me, again, Cole Caulfield is just that goal-scoring ability that now, if he can put his nerves and his just, I guess, excitement and just settle down and just focus on putting the puck in the net like he's done his entire junior career with the U.S. National Development Program, with the University of Wisconsin. If he can now settle down and just do what he's been doing all these last 3, 4, 5 years, and take that, and also with the Laval Rocket, of course, in his first 2 games with the Laval Rocket, that's what the Canadiens are missing in their lineup right now. And guess what? Here's another thing. So this Montreal Canadiens lineup is built on depth, right? But here's the problem, though. Here's what I think we've learned this season is that it's one thing if you're going to have depth, a team built on depth, and rely on this so-called depth scoring. Well, you need guys in the top 6 to produce. You need your guys in the top 6 to not go multiple games without goals, or multiple games without points. And that's what the Habs dealt with Philip Deneau. And now, I hate to say it, a guy I haven't mentioned yet, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, like Suzuki, who again, I'm wearing my number, if you can see, number 14 tonight. Nick Suzuki, I'm wearing that. But if you can watch or compare Nick Suzuki and Kotkaniemi this year, whenever Kotkaniemi's been here, Suzuki's been there. And now Suzuki, whenever he's here, Kotkaniemi goes down here. So I guess that's the one little frustrating thing, and the one thing that I guess is temporary, because these guys are still, Suzuki's 21, Kotkaniemi's 20 years old. So it's going to happen. And maybe Kotkaniemi's a guy that also could take his game to another level in the playoffs like he did last year. But again, when you're talking about a team that's built on depth, you still need your top guys to do things. You still need your top guys to know in terms of his spot in the number 1 line as a number 1 center, but still Tatar, Anderson, Drouin, who again, God bless Jonathan Drouin, support him, love him, just wish him the best for Jonathan Drouin, and take your time to deal with what you have to deal with and come back when you're ready to help the Montreal Canadiens win hockey games, and when you are in a place that you can help the Montreal Canadiens win hockey games. But you got to do what you do. You got to take care of what you're dealing with and not deal with it. That's on Drouin to deal with. So anyway, that aside, again, you can't have your guys that you're relying on to score goals to have them not score goals, and then all of a sudden rely on Lehkonen, Evans, and Byron, and just your third and fourth line guys to all of a sudden magically, we're going to score goals every game now. It doesn't work that way. What makes depth scoring effective is when your top lines are giving the other team's top lines a hard time and putting pressure on opponents to defend them. And now, because they're focusing so much on defending those top guys, if you have guys that are good in your bottom six, that's where they can be more effective, because now if the top six guys are producing and prefer, even if they're not scoring goals, as long as they're producing and making things happen and not being invisible every game, well, now your bottom six guys have less pressure on them to score. And we're seeing that because Arturi Lehkonen scored the other night, and he also scored last week against the Edmonton Oilers. So when you have your top guys like Toffoli now again, who scored again, and Josh Anderson, who hit the post and should have had like several goals yesterday and could have easily had he's hit the post again tonight, like I mentioned. Just when you have your top guys now putting pressure on the other team offensively, and now they have to focus on defending them, it's like, crap, now we got to defend all four lines instead of just, one or two lines. Well, that's where depth scoring happens. That's where you got your depth guys like Lehkonen, like Evans, like Byron, or in this case, even Stahl. Eric Stahl, by the way, has been much better of late. Eric Stahl has been much, much better, by the way. And even Corey Perry. Corey Perry did had his usual wizard moment in this hockey game where he decided to drag it all the way behind the nets and just like completely freeze the defense, all five guys on the ice for the Sens. But just unfortunately, Michael Frolik was never a guy known for his elite finishing skills, and he couldn't finish the pass that Toffoli set him up with. But look, again, it just, when you have guys in the top six that are producing and creating pressure offensively and scoring goals, well, then your bottom six guys become more difficult to defend. And the problem with the Canadiens this year is that when their top six guys have not been producing, that puts that much more pressure on Evans, Byron, Lehkonen, et cetera, to now all of a sudden be guys to score goals on a regular basis, which is not a winning formula. You can't rely on winning 2-1 games with a goal from Lehkonen and a goal from Byron. You can't rely on winning every game like that. Sure, I think the Habs actually beat Pittsburgh in a game or two like that. But in the regular season, when you're playing 56 games or on a normal schedule, 82 games, that's not a sustainable way of winning hockey games. And as usual, leave a comment in the comment section. I see it blowing up right now. I'll get to them in a little bit. But as usual, just appreciate the interaction, appreciate the engagement. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll keep it rolling. We'll keep the celebration going here because, once again, Cole Caulfield, his first NHL goal, his first goal as a Montreal Canadien, of course, so it's implied. His first NHL goal is the overtime winner. I just think, again, it's so cool how Eric Stahl in his first game as a Montreal Canadien, or the last two overtime goals the Canadiens scored were scored by Eric Stahl and Cole Caulfield after going 0 for the first 9 in overtime, I think. 0 for like the first 9 or 10 games in overtime. And knock on wood, the Habs have not lost in overtime since. They also haven't been really getting to overtime because they've had a really, really rough stretch the last couple of weeks. But in these last couple games, they have been much, much better. And honestly, let's give some credit to the defensemen also. Now, like with Shea Weber getting hurt, like, the Habs are now 2-0 without Shea Weber. And also, if you remember correctly, in 2018, 2019, they didn't have Shea Weber for a good first couple months of the season, and they were still keeping pace in the standings and were still in a playoff spot. Now, I'm not saying that Shea Weber should never be in the lineup, but I'm also just saying that load managing Shea Weber, and again, not wishing for him to be injured. And I hope that Shea Weber, like with Drouin, does what he needs to do to recover and just come back when he's ready to be the leader, the captain, the man mountain, the actual man mountain that moves, and not just the man mountain that stays there and doesn't move, but also the guy that hits, the guy that's responsible defensively, the guy that uses that takes good, that is opportunistic with his shots on the point. Like, we need that Shea Weber to come back, not the Shea Weber that loses guys in coverage, that turns pucks over, that just chases guys behind the net and gets beat with speed. If that's the Shea Weber that's coming back, just keep recovering, keep resting, and take the time that you need to be that version of Shea Weber, the good version of Shea Weber. And it just shows that the Canadiens, with these last two games, they can win even while they're resting their defensemen, which is also what I've been clamoring for these last 3-4 weeks. And maybe, just maybe, they'll start to realize that, because with the more wins that they get from here until the end of the season, the further back Calgary goes. And all of a sudden, the Habs are what? Like only 3 points behind the Jets, right? Let me look that up real quick. I'll confirm that because that's important and easy to find. Habs, they are right now just 2 points behind the Jets with as many games played. And they are now, the Calgary Flames are now, they're now 8 points ahead of the Calgary Flames, but having played one more game, I believe, the Flames are in Edmonton tonight. So obviously the Oilers need to win that game for the sake of the Montreal Canadiens. Updated standings, it's 2 points, guys. Just confirming that in the comment section. So yeah, but honestly, I don't care. I don't care where the Habs rank in the top 4, as long as they're in the top 4, because let's be real, it doesn't matter where you are in the playoffs, especially in this division. It just matters that you get into the playoffs, especially when there's no home ice advantage or there's no fans in the stands. And to me, hockey, home ice advantage in the hockey is, or hockey is the sport where home ice advantage means the least. Football, you have the crowd making noise, and when you're on offense for the road team, on the road teams on offense. NBA, you have you can kind of feed off the crowd, right? Teams feed off the crowd, and also when they're hitting free throws, you have all the distractions. I think they're pro enough to have that not bother them, but still, NBA, it's kind of a factor, home court advantage. Baseball, you get the last out, or the last at bat, which is an advantage. And in hockey, though, what home ice advantage, you get the last change, which is good, but coaches aren't always great at using that last change. So it makes kind of a difference. But yeah, just all this to say is, as long as the Habs make the playoffs, doesn't matter where they finish, just make it to the dance and make it to the playoffs and win the playoffs, and do what you can now with these last, what did I say? They played 50 games. So in these last 6 games, do what you have to do, or start. If you should have already started doing it, but now even more so, start doing what the Leafs are doing and keep resting guys like Weber. Maybe even give Petrie a night off as you start to gain more distance on the Calgary Flames. But start doing what you need to do to allow these guys to recover and be at their best come playoff time. And yeah, by the way, Sheldon, in the comments there, I guess that's my only slight minor regret. We'll hear this plenty of times going forward. But man, if Pierre Hood could have called that tonight, if Pierre Hood could have had the privilege to call that goal by Cole Caulfield tonight, it would have been lit. So I guess that's the only. But then again, if things go the way they're supposed to, Pierre Hood will be able to call a lot of Cole Caulfield goals, and he'll be able to call some really, really big, important Cole Caulfield goals than an overtime winner against the Ottawa Senators in Game 50 of the regular season. So. Actually, will he? If the RDS doesn't do the playoffs, that maybe won't be the case. But yeah, just either way, Pierre Hood will have plenty of chances to call Cole Caulfield goals. So, but I guess it would have been nice to hear his goal call for tonight. I guess that's the only issue. But yeah, once again, in the comments, I'll see if I could get to some of yours. More of a conversation going on here. And again, I appreciate the interaction. I appreciate the thumbs up and the follows, the subscriptions. I love it. And I'm gonna, that's why I keep being here for you. Honestly, that's why that's what's given me that much more motivation, inspiration to keep coming out here for after every single Habs game, no matter whether it was an exciting game like tonight or a boring, dull, ugly game like it was against the Leafs on Wednesday, or all week last week against the Flames. So as usual, guys, just thank you so much for coming out here on this on my live streams here, my Langer at the Mic live streams. Comments, leave a comment in the comment section on what your reactions were to the Habs game tonight, to the win, to Cole Caulfield's first goal, and who your favorite number 22 was besides Cole Caulfield. Just some debates on goal interference here. So just to read some, Allen's goal, if Allen's glove gets bumped with and it's not called goal interference, then Suzuki's goal should have counted. Yeah, that was frustrating. Obviously, in the Jets game a couple weeks ago, as Jake Allen's glove got bumped, but that wasn't goal interference, and that stood. Look, to me, reffing is always going to be the way it is, but also, you know what is going to be the way it is? The way you play. And can you overcome that, or can you be better than the refs? Can you not let just a second goal in a hockey game be the be-all, end-all for the way you play? And can you beat the Ottawa Senators, or could you rely on being better than the Ottawa Senators like throughout the entire 60 minutes of a hockey game instead of relying on a goal with like 2 seconds left that gets reversed because of a goal interference to beat the Ottawa Senators, you know? So all I'm saying is like the refs are going to be the refs and just focus on what you can control. And it sucks that the refs are the refs, but again, still just look, the Habs in these last 2 games, again, we'll end on a positive note here. The Habs in these last 2 games have proven that, or have shown that they still can rally and come from behind and win games in regulation last night after being down by 2, or in overtime after being down by 2 tonight. And and I'm going to end it at that, guys. As usual, thank you so much for tuning in. Give me a big thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to my channel here at Langer at the Mic. Give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike Langer for all 3. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Langer at the Mic Live. Let's celebrate hard tonight, this overtime victory, this first NHL goal by Cole Caulfield, and look forward to seeing you again next time. Go Habs, go, baby.